Great to see everybody. I hate to break up these great conversations. Welcome to UBC. Thank you so much for joining us for this fantastic event. What a great day. I'm Benoit Antoine Bacon. I am the President and Vice Chancellor of the University of British Columbia. And to begin our program, it gives me great pleasure to introduce Councillor Alec Guerin from Musqueam and to invite him forward to share words of welcome. Alec, please.
RCM na CM na CA tolnak kona squeak tanitanat Musqueam. When I ate to Nishqualawan, quans quats nala, hides up the swallop quathami hui tanawil. A mead sep quat huilum, tana naas, tatas, Musqueamats tammo. Tishwa amets tas hunt caminum gun. Sta quanas yaweneth ke balano, he should seem old. So my friends and relatives, my ancestral name is Tolnak, my English name is Alec Guerin, and I'm from Musqueam, where I'm an elected councillor. It brings me good feelings to be here with you all today for a couple of reasons. The first is that my people have been the guardians of the mouth of the Fraser River since time immemorial. What that means is if people want to come in, access the lands, the waterways, the resources, they'd have to first come through us. And if they were coming with open hearts and open minds, a willingness to follow the laws of the land, we'd welcome them in. One of the key places where we perform that role, guarding the mouth of the Fraser River, is now known as the University of British Columbia. And so when you receive a Musqueam welcome, particularly here, but anywhere in Musqueam territory, it's not just a land acknowledgement, and it's not a small act of reconciliation. It's actually a continuation of the laws of my people. So for that reason, it's really near and dear to my heart to do like a tiny little piece to continue that work. The second reason I'm happy to be here is the same reason you all are. This is well, I'm not going to say anything about today, but it's a very exciting time, and it's a time to be proud to be Canadian. I will say no more. Just as a Musqueam person, as a Canadian, a British Columbian, and starting in September, as a UBC student, I'm very proud to be able to represent Musqueam and be here, be a small part of today. So with that, I'll just say it's my great honor and privilege, on behalf of my ancestors, my elders, and my people, to welcome you to the unceded territory of the Hunt Caminum speaking people of Musqueam. See you tall, it's Haichka.
Well, thank you so much, Alec, for getting us started in a good way, and good luck with your studies. Distinguished guests, colleagues, friends, welcome. It's such a great pleasure to welcome you all here to UBC on this extraordinarily exciting occasion. It really is a privilege to host you, especially as we welcome leaders from the governments of Canada and British Columbia who will be sharing very important and exciting announcements that will shape the future of our province and our country. Minister Joly, thank you for being here. Minister Robertson, Minister Dix, we're all so eager to hear the exciting news that you will have to share, that you will share today, and to hear from and celebrate with our partners, the researchers and companies who are helping us to turn our shared ambitions into reality. And I find it especially fitting that today's event is taking place here in the stunning Gordon B. Shrum building at UBC. This is the recently opened home of our Grade School of Biomedical Engineering. And this is a place designed to bring people and disciplines together to translate research into new technologies, treatments, and solutions that improves lives and grow our economy. The very same commitment to research with great impact is at the very heart of today's announcement. When the Canada Global Impact Plus Research Talent Initiative was first launched last December, it was welcomed across the board as a visionary and transformative investment in Canada's future. And today marks such an important step in realizing that ambition through the appointment of the first intake of Eddie Goldenberg Research Chairs of Canada here at UBC and across the country. And let me just say that I'm so proud that UBC and all of Canada's leading research university responded so quickly to recruit absolutely top scientific talent from around the world to continue to build a thriving research ecosystem that strengthens our capacity for discovery and innovation. So proud of this. Because there is no question that Canada's strength and future prosperity depend on our ability to develop, to attract, and to retain exceptional people. By bringing leading researchers to Canada and supporting them in building teams, training students, working with partners to mobilize discoveries, we're expanding our capacity to address the urgent challenges that are facing our province, our country, indeed our world. It's a great day. Soon we'll be hearing from Ministers Joly, Robertson, and Dix about further investments as well in strengthening Canadian companies and our innovation system here at UBC. Can't wait to hear. And now, it's my great pleasure to introduce Parliamentary Secretary Wade Grant, the Member of Parliament for Vancouver Quadra, the riding that includes UBC's Vancouver campus. And he's also the Parliamentary Secretary to the Minister of Environment and Climate Change. And let me note, Wade, it's always great to have you here, that you are a UBC alum, a longtime friend and neighbor to the university, and I'm so pleased that you're with us today. Please, everyone, help me welcome Wade Grant to the podium. Wade.
Thank you so much, President Pécan, for always greeting me in such a warm way. Good morning, everyone. Bonjour tout le monde. Ami sepkwilum and my name is Wade Grant, and I start as my cousin did, introducing myself in my traditional name, which is Tzolek, a name I received at the mouth of the Fraser River in 1993 from my parents, Kayop Alanoch and Taktanat, and so very proud to carry that name and carry the legacy of my parents here today. I was born and raised in this riding on the Musqueam First Nation, and it's not lost on me, as my cousin stated, that just because we're Musqueam does not mean that we cannot be proud to be Canadian. And I'm very proud to be Canadian because both of my grandparents came together in a way. My grandfather immigrated from China in the 1920s and paid the head tax. My grandmother was an Indigenous woman who lived on the mouth of the Fraser River. It's not lost on me that for most of their lives, they couldn't even vote in this country. And now I am proudly standing here as the very first Musqueam person to be a member of Parliament in the federal government. So we've come a long, long way, and we've got so much more to go. And that's why we're here today to discuss and to announce this amazing, amazing event. And it's my sincere pleasure to welcome each and every one of you and to acknowledge my colleagues from Pacific Caucus, Member of Parliament Ron McKinnon, Member of Parliament Ernie Claassen, Member of Parliament Gregor Robertson, Member of Parliament Jill McKnight, Member of Parliament Zoe Royer. And did I miss anybody? Because I know my two colleagues here will be joining us on the stage right here. But it's been great to be a part of this team. And as someone who represents this region and grew up in this region, I am always proud to see people come together to celebrate what British Columbia does best. And that is to promote their talent, creativity, and innovation. And I've seen firsthand how Metro Vancouver, the region, has earned a reputation of one of Canada's great centers of discovery. Across our universities, across our hospitals, our research institutes, and growing companies, people are tackling some of the biggest challenges, not only in our country, but around the world. They're advancing medical technologies, developing new therapies, applying artificial intelligence, and finding solutions that improve lives. Aside from its natural beauty, what makes this region so special is the way those strengths connect. Researchers work alongside entrepreneurs, students gain experience with growing companies, ideas move more quickly from the lab to the marketplace, and that collaboration has helped create a dynamic life sciences sector that continues to attract investment, talent, and opportunity. It has also helped position British Columbia as an important contributor to Canada's future prosperity. Today's event is a reminder. It's a reminder that innovation does not happen by accident. It takes curiosity, it takes partnership, and a willingness to invest in people with big ideas. Fortunately, those qualities are in no short supply here in this room and in this great institution. This is why I am so fortunate, and this is why we are so fortunate as well, to have an industry minister who understands the importance of supporting Canadian talent, strengthening our innovation, and helping our businesses compete globally. So it is my great great pleasure to introduce the Honourable Mélanie Joly, Minister of Industry and Minister responsible for Canadian economic development for Quebec regions. Please help me in welcoming Minister Joly.
Thank you so much, Wade. Ça me fait vraiment plaisir d'être ici. Thank you for the warm welcome. I know it's an exciting day. And of course, it's always great to be here in BC with Gregor, with Wade, with Jill, with Zoe, with Gerbucks, with Ernie, with Ron. So, my God. You know, we have Pacific Caucus here. And Adrian, thank you also for being here. Ça fait plaisir de te voir. On a travaillé ensemble sur plusieurs autres dossiers par le passé. Donc, merci. So, it is a very fitting place. UBC is a very fitting place for us to talk about building Canada strong together. Through building our life science sector to how we can attract the best talent in the world to do so. And I know both companies we're highlighting today, Kardium and Evonik, have a special connection to this place, which are at the heart of life science and research. We know that we live in a much more complicated and dangerous world. Global trade shifts, conflict, and here in BC also wildfires are putting increased pressure on Canadians. And now, in the middle of a trade war, this uncertainty is growing. Pressure on workers, pressure on businesses. We know many in BC have been impacted by the first chapter of this trade war, particularly those in the forestry sector. We're here for BC, and we've been there for you, and we will continue to be. We all know that many more workers and businesses are impacted by the new tariffs. And that is why earlier this week, we announced more than $7.5 billion in support programs for our businesses and our workers. Support to keep your workers. Also, non-repayable contributions and interest-free loans for our businesses. This means that for some, if you have a business impacted by tariffs, you can stay afloat. If you have a job at risk, you can keep your job. Right here in BC, Pacifican, which is headed by my dear friend and colleague Gregor Robertson, our Pacifican is our regional development agency, and the BDC are here to help. And while we're helping those affected by illegal tariffs, we need to continue to build Canada strong, including right here for British Columbians. On va être là pour nos entreprises, on va être là pour nos jobs, et on va être là pour notre monde. Building Canada strong means many things. Today, I'll concentrate on two ways we're doing it. Let's start by talking how we will build Canada strong as a life science hub. Metro Vancouver, we know, is uniquely positioned to lead the country and the world in that sector. First, let's talk about Kardium. And thank you, Kevin, for being here with us. The team at Kardium has perfected a device for heart surgery that most Canadians have probably never heard of, but can help save countless lives globally, and of course here at home. It's called the Globe system. It treats the world's most common heart rhythm disorder, atrial fibrillation, with unparalleled precision, and Health Canada just approved it last month. Today, Kardium is receiving around $30 million from our government towards their $125 million project to expand their facility in Burnaby to increase their manufacturing capacity. They were building around 500 of the devices. They will get to 30,000 devices per year. Thank you. Congratulations. Kevin at Kardium and his team will create 300 new jobs and maintain a total of 7 highly skilled jobs, and will create around 2,000 co-op positions across British Columbia, and will keep the company's IP here in Canada. The Qatar Investment Agency, QIA, was a significant participant in Kardium's latest capital round, And the Prime Minister and I, when we were in Doha together back in January, were talking about Kardium. So QIA's investment in Kardium is a powerful proof point that Canadian medtech companies can attract world-class global capital. So congratulations again. Now, the second company we want to highlight is Evonik. Evonik is working on mRNA medicine, the same technology platform the world leaned on during the pandemic, and we're developing them here in Canada. Today, Evonik is receiving up to $68 million from our government towards a $150 million project that will expand their presence in BC, including to build a competence center. So thank you so much to Guido and the team, because this is also really good news. Because this, indeed, this project will expand research and manufacturing for early phase medicine and create 40 new jobs and maintain 200 skilled jobs, and will support more than 107 co-op positions for the next generations entering the field. And I met with Evonik's team when I was in Germany at the Hanover Messe, so at the Hanover Fair. Guido, you and I were together. I was pushing hard for you to make that investment in Canada. You made the right choice, so congratulations. Thank you so much. Because Evonik's parent company is a German company, so it shows again that we can continue to work with many of our partners, particularly also in Europe. So I know that you guys are betting on Canada, and Canada is also betting on you. So congratulations. Ensemble, Kardium et Evonik illustrent ce que signifie concrètement la souveraineté économique dans le domaine des sciences de la vie, de magnifiques compagnies qui vont avoir une longue vie au Canada. Donc, félicitations. But facilities and technology are only part of the equation. At the heart of every breakthrough is people. The second way that we're building Canada strong is through world-class universities. The future belongs to countries that can develop, attract, and retain exceptional talent. A clear example are the roots that both Kardium and Evonik have to the University of British Columbia. While certain countries are cutting research and turning their back on academic freedom, we're doubling down on science and we're doubling down on research. That brings me to Eddie Goldenberg Research Shares of Canada. Last December, alongside my colleague Marjorie Michel, our Minister of Health, we launched the largest talent attraction strategy of any Western country. $1.7 billion to attract the world's best and brightest researchers, and also to bring Canada's best and brightest back home. The Eddie Goldenberg Research Chairs honors a man who spent his career championing Canadian research. Eddie understood that good ideas become great when we support creativity, discovery, and innovation. And along with David Johnson, our former Governor General, Alan Bernstein, fantastic scientists, they really worked hard on getting the government's support for their idea of developing this incredible initiative. Eddie passed away a month ago, and that is why we decided to give the name of the Impact Plus Chairs in his memory. So that's why we're now calling the Eddie Goldenberg. I must also highlight two persons that really work really hard to get this fantastic initiative going. My parliamentary secretary, Karim Berdisi, who's unfortunately not with us, but in Toronto making an ECHO announcement. So thank you, Karim, and Robert Asselin also, who's with us. Donc, merci, Robert. Merci encore. And thank you to all the heads of universities and their team who helped make this happen. This historic initiative could not have been possible without your collaboration. So today we further honor Eddie's legacy. And I'm pleased to announce the results of the first intake, especially here in Vancouver, while UBC is leading the way with 9 new researchers. Bravo à Benoît, bravo à l'équipe. Félicitations. The Government of Canada is investing more than $500 million to support 64 research chairs over 8 years and over $37 million to support institutions in the recruitment of 63 emerging leaders over the next year. Aujourd'hui, nous rendons une nouvelle fois hommage à l'héritage d'Eddie Goldenberg. Je suis heureuse d'annoncer les résultats de la première sélection, notamment ici, à l'Université de la Colombie-Britannique, à UBC, qui est en première liste, enfin en tête de liste, avec 9 nouveaux chercheurs. Le gouvernement du Canada investit plus de 500 millions de dollars pour soutenir 64 chaires de recherche sur une période de 8 ans, ainsi que 37 millions de dollars pour aider les établissements à recruter 63 leaders émergents au cours des années à venir. So, our first intake represents researchers from 13 countries. And good news, we also have 23 Canadians coming back. Let me share 3 examples with you. Professor Sarah Seeger is a world-renowned Canadian astrophysicist and MIT professor whose pioneering work transformed the search for planets beyond our solar system. She is a global leader in exoplanet research and the search for life beyond Earth, and she's coming back to the University of Toronto. So, good choice, Sarah. Thank you. Vous prenez comme exemple également le professeur Patrick Charbonneau, qui était jusqu'à récemment à l'Université Duke, en Caroline du Nord. Patrick se joint à l'Université de Montréal pour diriger la chaire de recherche en matières complexes et l'intelligence artificielle. Il se joint à titre de professeur de physique et membre de l'Institut Courtois. Another one is with us, actually, and is Professor Peter Caravan. Peter is a world-leading molecular imaging scientist and a professor at Harvard. His innovations have advanced from the lab to clinical trials, helping improve the diagnosis of illness such as fibrosis and cancer and other serious conditions. Peter, of course, you're with us today, and I know that you're coming back to your alma mater, UBC. You did the right choice. Together, these chairs believe in Canada's future in life sciences and, of course, in fields such as our environment, Arctic protection, global security, and they want to be part of building it. Years from now, we will look back at today's announcement, and we will be able to seize the lasting impact of our choices. How many lives were made better? How many young people were inspired by their professors? How many groundbreaking discoveries, universities, on their communities, on our country, and on the world? When people ask how Canada is responding to a changing world, point them to this hinge moment in our history. Point them to the researchers who have chosen Canada, to the discoveries that will improve lives, to the talent that will help shape the future. And to everyone at Kardium and Evonik, congratulations. And to all the Eddie Goldenberg research chairs joining our research community, welcome home. Thank you so much. It is my pleasure to introduce the fantastic Minister of Infrastructure, of Housing, in charge of Pacific and of so many, Gregor Robertson. Thank you.
Merci, Mélanie, and thank you for the kind introduction. Thank you to UBC, everyone here from UBC, for hosting us all here before school kicks into gear. Wonderful to be back as a former UBC student. I want to acknowledge my colleagues too. It's great. We're back in Ottawa in a couple of weeks, but we've gotten to be together here in BC, particularly at this time when we face these tough headwinds from the south, But this is the strength that we're gathering together, and being able to be home together has been fantastic through the summer. But we're back at work in Ottawa in just a matter of a few weeks now. From advanced manufacturing to clean tech, from the life sciences to cutting edge medical technologies and research, BC's businesses, BC's universities punch way above our weight, have always been resilient and innovative and open to change, and we are leaders around the world, and this is a really proud moment for us. Thank you, Minister Joly, for honoring us with your presence here and your leadership, showing the way forward as Canada invests and doubles down, and particularly here in BC. Alors que les perturbations du commerce mondial continuent de créer de l'incertitude, le Canada met l'accent sur ce qu'il peut contrôler, bâtir une économie canadienne plus forte et plus résiliente. Nous savons qu'il s'agit d'une période difficile pour les entreprises et les collectivités. Les coûts évoluent, les marges se transforment, les chaînes d'approvisionnement sont mises à l'épreuve. And in moments like this, businesses need our support. Fantastic to have a great company in Kardium from the south part of Burnaby, which I represent in Parliament. In moments like this, investing in our businesses is a very strong statement. Taking taxpayer money and investing in our leading lights to create jobs, to create stability and opportunity across our country. And that's why our Government of Canada is stepping up with the Regional Tariff Response Initiative. It's a mouthful. It's a great acronym, though, RTRI, helping our businesses respond to the trade pressures by improving productivity, by strengthening supply chains, making sure that we are doing everything we can to grow our business opportunities overseas with all sorts of new customers in different countries around the world. And we need to bring costs down of everything that we make, and particularly with home building, with infrastructure, we've got to get our costs down to make them more affordable. RTRI is a $3.5 billion initiative, and that is being delivered by our regional development agencies. Mélanie leads the Quebec team, I lead the BC team. We have a great group of colleagues, and we are very focused, I think more than ever before, in making sure we work locally, we work regionally, we invest on the front lines. And as someone who comes from this coast and has always been very conscious of how far away Ottawa is, and vice versa. It's interesting for those of us from BC to be in Ottawa and realize that Ottawa isn't always thinking about the West Coast, particularly when you get over the mountains. It's a great distance. We rely on a team here in Pacific Can that does fantastic work being connected to local businesses. We rely on the relationships we have with our universities, with our local governments, with our First Nations. These are critical to us making the right choices at the federal level. Pacific Can is dedicated in BC in helping our businesses in the province navigate these trade disruptions right now and really create new opportunities. Earlier this month, Pacific Can announced we invested more than $30 million for dozens of businesses and organizations. UBC has been a recipient and part of this and helping build the ecosystems, in particular around artificial intelligence and digital technology. We have incredible opportunities, and Pacific Can is investing in those, protecting jobs and really addressing the most affected sectors first and foremost. We announced actually in 2022 with Kardium the first investment from Pacific Can to increase manufacturing capacity, to scale up the company and the Burnaby facility, and support these worldwide sales of its globe system. Today, we're continuing that momentum, investing in Kardium further, in addition to Evonik. Thank you, gentlemen, to your teams for all the leadership and the good work that you do, saving lives, first and foremost, but creating great jobs here. These are leading businesses globally, and we need to be sure that they are thriving here in Canada and helping us grow this Canadian economy when we're under dire threat. As the Prime Minister says over and over, building at home and diversifying our trade, that's our plan A. That has always been our plan A for a year and a half now since taking office. And today's investment in these companies, today's investment to support the 64 Eddie Goldenberg research chairs are great examples of that plan A in action. When we invest in our Canadian ideas and our people here, we create the opportunities that we need to go forward and really strengthen our position in BC as a hub for global innovation. As someone who's built businesses here in BC, I know how important the support and in particular the investment from governments can be to success. It's a powerful statement when Canadian companies or those that come from other countries to do work here in Canada and to build a team here in Canada, having governments here at home demonstrate that tangible support is a real vote of confidence for the world's trade that needs to happen. So it's a really important statement for the government to invest in this partnership. We are building a stronger and more resilient Canada together. Let's take it to the next level. Merci à tous. Thank you very much, everyone. And without further ado, I'm honored to invite my old friend and former colleague in the legislature, Minister Adrian Dix, who's the Minister of Environment and Climate Change, as well as the Interim Minister for Jobs and Economic Growth here in BC. Minister Dix. Welcome.
So, Minister Robertson, Gregor Kardium, a great Burnaby company. Minister Robertson, MP for Burnaby and South Vancouver. We're having the announcement at UBC. Holy mackerel, you know? Then I realized Wade Grant. I want everyone to know, especially all our federal colleagues to know, that I was getting dressed this morning. And I asked my wife, Renee Saragini, so should I go with the Mark Carney or the Gregor Roberts? We're like twins, you know? And it's good to be here. After all, it's summer in Vancouver. It's good to be here. And I'm here on behalf of my colleague Brenda Bailey, who's going through a real health challenge right now, especially this week. And there is, I think, nobody in Canada that I know who's as strong an advocate for the life sciences sector as she is for health technology, as Brenda is. She is an extraordinary leader. And for a little while, I'll be speaking for her at events, but she is in my head on life sciences and in my heart because of what a great person she is, and we're thinking about her today. This is a significant announcement today. Kardium and Evonik are extraordinary companies, and they're going to bring jobs and ideas and growth to our country and to our province. And it is, I think, a sign of the commitment that we have in British Columbia, the commitment to work with the federal government, who I think in the last week has made our country proud in its discussions with the United States, to work with our federal government to drive economic growth here. We have to act now. We cannot wait. These investments are essential. And I am very proud of what Minister Joly has announced today. It's an important, I think, symbol for our country. We in BC have the goal to double the number of people from 20,000 to 40,000 working in life sciences over the next 10 years in our Look West plan. And this contributes enormously to it. Face à des attentes sans précédent à notre souveraineté, il est plus important que jamais de soutenir les entreprises canadiennes qui relèvent des défis sanitaires bien réels, créent des emplois et améliorent la vie des gens. Dans le cadre de notre stratégie Look West, nous nous sommes fixés pour objectif de d'ici 10 ans le nombre d'emplois dans le secteur des sciences de la vie en Colombie-Britannique et d'accroître de 75% ses retombées économiques. Cette initiative constitue une nouvelle étape positive vers la réalisation de cet objectif. And I must say, Minister Joly, that it had not occurred to me that speaking French would be an act of defiance contre la Maison Blanche, but there you go. It's a great day for BC, a great day for the university. I just want to say this finally. I had the honor in my life and my experience to meet Eddie Goldenberg 30 years ago. And what was true about him then, I met him a number of times following that, what was always true about Mr. Goldenberg, if I may call him that, because that's what I called him at the time, was his commitment to passing on knowledge to young people, to supporting young people, and to supporting Canada. And so it is a real honor that my alma mater has 9 Eddie Goldenberg chairs here. It's a real honor for Canada, and I'm very proud of the decision by the Government of Canada to connect what we must do now, which is to grow and be stronger and be more sovereign and be together and love one another and support one another, to the legacy of Mr. Goldenberg, who believed in all of those things. Thank you very much. Now, you see, it's good going third because you get the process down quite well. I'm pleased to now invite Sylvie Lamoureux, Social Sciences and Humanities Research Council Chief Operating Officer and Vice President Research, to speak now. You got it.
I have to remember not to touch the mic, so I'll stand on my tippy toes. Good morning, honored guests. I want to give a special welcome to the many parliamentarians in the room today, including Ministers Joly, Robertson, Dix, and McKnight, and I remembered I have glasses, I'm sorry. So much clearer. Secretary of State Sarai, Parliamentary Secretaries Grant and Claassen, the many other MPs, members of provincial parliament, and municipal dignitaries in the room. I would also like to point out to important people within the tri-agency research base in Canada, Alejandro Adem, who's the president of the Natural Sciences and Engineering Research Council of Canada, and Dr. Paul Hébert, who's the president of the Canadian Institutes for Health Research. We are not joined today by our friend, Dr. Sylvain Charbonneau, who's from the the Canadian Foundation for Innovation, who's on holiday, but his foundation will play a very important role in the next step after today's announcement. As was said, my name is Sylvie Lamoureux, and at SSHRC, Social Sciences and Humanities Research Council, my purview is both on SSH programs and on tri-agency programs, which fall under something that we nickname TIPS, the Tri-Agency Program Secretariat. And I chair the steering committee of those programs who recommended and endorsed the recommendations of the committee who did the peer review in this process. We administer prestigious programs that we are celebrating today on behalf of Canada's 3 federal research funding agencies. And it's my honor to say a few words on behalf of all of these agencies. I will now say a few words in French. Grâce à notre action en faveur de la recherche et de la formation en recherche au Canada, en collaboration avec la Fondation canadienne pour l'Innovation, notre principal partenaire qui investit dans des infrastructures de recherche de classe mondiale, nous veillons à ce que le Canada demeure une puissance dans le domaine de la recherche, un chef de file en matière d'innovation scientifique et un lieu qui attire les chercheuses et les chercheurs de talent. Je continue en anglais. Canada's sustained support for discovery research over the years has resulted in a vibrant research ecosystem that consistently drives breakthroughs at the frontier of human knowledge. Through this landmark investment, the Eddie Goldenberg Research Chairs of Canada program, along with the other components of the Canada Global Impact Plus Research Talent Initiative, build on Canada's research successes and add a new pillar with a strong emphasis on translating knowledge into economic and social benefits, including commercialization of research through partnerships with industry, government, and others who put research into action in society. These chairs will deliver applied outcomes and tangible impacts for Canada and the world. The caliber of talent represented through this first intake of chairs is truly remarkable, and that is actually an understatement. The bar was high and the competition stiff. Each of the 64 chairs recruited to date are world-class researchers hailing from across the globe, each with a proven track record of leading large-scale, ambitious research programs, each driven to address priority areas for Canada, whether it be solutions to the housing crisis, wildfire resilience, sustainable transportation, and strengthening democracy. While there are many to thank, 3 groups stand out who deserve mention this morning. The first are the Canadian institutions who responded to the call with immense passion and agility, rapidly getting the word out around the globe that Canada was offering a generational investment in recruiting world-leading research talent and putting forth excellent proposals in record time. We want to attract the best. Reflects on the excellence of Canada's research ecosystem and the attractiveness of that system to the people we are celebrating and welcoming today. The next group is the Independent International Multidisciplinary Selection Committee, I dare you to say that quickly 10 times, responsible for reviewing the application and comprised of individuals with the stature, judgment, and breadth of experience to assess both scientific excellence and real-world impact. One of the 3 co-chairs of this committee, Dr. Martha Piper, is with us today, and we thank her and her co-chairs and all of the committee members for their service. They start again on Monday for Intake 2. And last, but certainly not the least, I would like to commend the dedicated public service within TIPS, colleagues across all of the agencies, particularly the support from the presidents, the vice presidents, as well as our colleagues at ISED and Health Canada, who worked diligently and tirelessly to design, launch, and implement these programs in the accelerated timeline needed to seize this unique opportunity for Canada. I'd like to remind you, this was launched on December 9th. I will continue briefly in French. Nous attendons avec impatience dans les prochains mois l'annonce de la 2e et dernière cohorte de candidatures au poste de chaire. Nous attendons aussi voir les établissements continuer de recruter au cours de l'année des leaders émergents du monde entier. Ces leaders viendront enrichir le bassin canadien de chercheuses et chercheurs de talent, des personnes en début de carrière qui apporteront des idées novatrices, des perspectives variées et un potentiel immense. Et pour conclure en anglais, before I close, I would like to invite all of us here present today at UBC to offer a rousing round of applause for all of our new Eddie Goldenberg Research Chairs and emerging leaders, whether they are here today or listening across Canada and the globe. On behalf of all involved, thank you for choosing Canada, and as Minister Joly said, welcome home. And it is now my great pleasure to introduce Dr. Peter Caravan, Eddie Goldenberg Distinguished Research Chair of Canada in Translational, Molecular Imaging, and Therapy. Dr. Caravan.
So thank you. It's really an honor to stand here today, and it's great to be back in Canada. I grew up in Newfoundland. I went to Acadia University as an undergraduate, and I was supported at that time by the federal government as a Canada Scholar That was a program that encouraged STEM education. I then came here to University of British Columbia, where I did a PhD in chemistry, and that was funded by an NSERC postgraduate scholarship. And then following my PhD, NSERC funded my research again as I went out into the world as a postdoctoral fellow. Everything that I've built since, 9 years working in biopharma and then 2 decades at Massachusetts General Hospital and Harvard Medical School, was really just a long way of getting back to this point. So when I say I'm honored to be named a distinguished Eddie Goldenberg Research Chair, I mean it in a very literal sense. I'm coming home. I'll become a politician if this keeps up. So let me tell you briefly about what my research is actually about, because the name molecular imaging and theranostics doesn't exactly roll off the tongue. So here's the problem that we're solving. When you get an MRI or a CAT scan, it shows you structure, what tissue looks like and whether it's abnormal. With those scans, what they can't show you often is activity, whether a disease is actively progressing right now. And that distinction matters enormously. It can mean detecting disease before the disease alters the structure of the tissue. Or it can mean distinguishing patients with active disease that need to be treated today from stable patients who don't require immediate treatment. And it can mean identifying early whether a treatment is halting the disease activity and is going to be effective, or whether we need to change that course of treatment. My lab builds molecules, we call them probes, that are designed to find one specific target in the body. A protein that shows up in active tissue injury, or in a tumor, or in a blood clot, but not in healthy tissue. And then we attach something to that molecule to make it visible in a PET or an MRI scan. We inject it, and suddenly we can see active disease at the molecular level, and not just guess at it from an image of anatomy. And here's the exciting part. If you can build a molecule precisely enough to specifically image that target, then you can often attach a treatment payload to the same molecule instead. And we call those theranostics. The same address label, but sometimes carrying an imaging beacon and sometimes carrying a therapy. And theranostics are already changing how we treat prostate cancer and neuroendocrine tumors. My lab has spent the last 2 decades pushing that same idea with applications to other cancers, to blood clots, and to chronic diseases of the liver, lung, heart, and kidneys. The probes that we have developed have been in use in tens of clinical trials and enabled the formation of several companies. So why leave Harvard and MIT, institutions that I cherish, with colleagues that great friends and colleagues that I deeply respect, for coming to UBC? Honestly, it's because of what's here. There's a concentration of assets in this region that do not exist elsewhere, including in Boston. Right on this campus is Triumph's isotope production facility. There's a new GMP manufacturing facility going up in the ATMF. BC Cancer's radiopharmaceutical program is world-class. There's world-class translational research at the new St. Paul's Hospital, and the Heart and Lung Innovation Center is incredible. Individually, these are all world-class. But together, they're ingredients for something that I've spent my whole career trying to build piece by piece, an actual bench to first-in-human pipeline, all in one place. And that's what this new Center for Translational Molecular Imaging and Therapy is going to be. Not just my lab, but a hub for biologists, chemists, pharmacists, physicists, clinicians, and trainees from across this region and the country to move discoveries into patients faster and to train the next generation of people to do that work and to grow in the field. And I want to be direct about something. This isn't only a scientific bet, it's an economic one. Every molecule that we invent is intellectual property, and in this field, that IP turns into real companies. I've started several myself. The radioligand therapy market alone is heading towards $13 billion globally by the end of the decade. And Canadian companies like Fusion Pharmaceuticals have already been successful in this space. Vancouver has all the science, technology, and medical pieces to capture that value. What's been missing is a catalyst for bringing these pieces together. And that's the gap that this chair is built to fill: new patents, new companies, and an investment that stays in Canada. I want to thank UBC's leadership for this vision An investment behind this, Provo Gage Averill, Peter Zanstra and his predecessor Gail Murphy in the BPRI office, and Dean Lalitha Raman Wilms and Associate Dean Colin Ross, who championed this center from the start. Thank you. And I want to say a word about the name on this chair. Mr. Goldenberg spent decades in public service and pushed for Canada to go out and bring exceptional researchers here, including Canadians who built careers abroad. He didn't live to see this program carry his name, but I think he'd recognize exactly what's happening in this room. Someone trained in this country who left to build a career elsewhere, coming back. Because Canada made the case that this is where this work should happen next, and I'm proud to be part of that. I trained in this country, I built a career elsewhere, and now I get to come back and build something here that outlasts me. I couldn't be more excited to get started. Thank you. Now I'm happy to introduce the CEO of Kardium, Kevin Chaplin.
Thank you, Dr. Caravan. It's a tough to follow speech that got a standing ovation, but I'll try. I also didn't realize when I put on a tie this morning that I was doing the Mark Carney, but I'll wear it proudly. Thank you, Minister Joly, Minister Robertson, and everyone involved at the federal government in supporting Kardium through this funding. We appreciate your confidence in the work and the impact this investment will have for patients around the world and for our team here in British Columbia. Kardium's mission is to deliver the best treatment for atrial fibrillation. For almost 2 decades, our team has worked to build one of the most advanced technologies and vertically integrated medtech operations here in Canada. Across engineering, manufacturing, clinical, and operations, there is a shared commitment to designing and delivering the advanced medical technology that improves patient outcomes. Over this past year, we've reached 2 significant milestones at Kardium. The Globe system, our technology, received FDA approval last year, and just a few weeks ago, we received approval from Health Canada. This allows us to begin commercialization here at home. These milestones reflect years of engineering excellence, clinical rigor, and collaboration with leading physicians around the world to bring this technology to life. This federal support enables the next phase of our growth. Along with the Pacific Can funding from 2022, this funding will help expand our world-class manufacturing facility for advanced medical devices right here in Burnaby to meet the growing global demand for the treatment for atrial fibrillation. It will also help us maintain and create highly skilled jobs, hundreds of highly skilled jobs here in British Columbia, and ensure that our intellectual property continues to be developed here in Canada. Our Globe system is a next-generation treatment for atrial fibrillation. It's the most common heart rhythm disorder in the world. With this support, we will be able to reach thousands more patients with a safer and more effective technology. This project also strengthens British Columbia's innovation ecosystem. Kardium, we hope, has become an example of the quality, competitiveness, and long-term vision that define British Columbia's life sciences community. This federal support reinforces our ability to deliver world-class technology and improve patient outcomes worldwide. We are grateful for this partnership and the confidence placed in our mission. Thank you again, Minister Joly, Minister Robertson, and our federal partners, and everyone for supporting Kardium's mission. It is now my pleasure to introduce Guido Skudlarek from Evonik.
Thanks, Kevin. And that's easier than Guido Skudlarek. That's difficult. Well, another warm welcome. Good morning. My name is Guido Skudlarek, And as the head of Evonik's global healthcare business, I'm excited to talk about our new state-of-the-art facility for lipid nanoparticle development and clinical manufacturing. This expansion will empower a growing number of pharma and biotech customers around the world to bring next-generation therapies to market. In other words, we provide the link between R&D and clinical trials, enabling our customers to bring life-changing therapies to patients faster and on a larger scale. A lot has happened since Evonik came to the greater Vancouver area 10 years ago. But one thing really remained constant: the prominent role of British Columbia's vibrant life sciences ecosystem in shaping the future of medicine, particularly in the field of lipid nanoparticles, which was, as we all know, instrumental in the global response to COVID-19. LNPs, so lipid nanoparticles, have become a leading drug delivery system for nucleic acid-based therapies. And demand for this technology continues to grow, not just for vaccines, but for other groundbreaking therapies to treat cancer, chronic diseases, and genetic disorders, to name just a few. We are on the cusp of a medical revolution. And I'm particularly proud to be here at the University of British Columbia, and this is just, it fits so well. The University of British Columbia, where much of this research and development takes place, is a powerhouse for biotech innovation. And the region's entrepreneurial spirit is truly tangible. Evonik Vancouver Laboratories actually originated as a startup out of UBC, and many of you might still remember this as Northern Lipids. Our expansion builds on this long-standing expertise and strengthens our regional presence and our global network. I would like to extend my heartfelt thanks to Minister Joly and the Canadian government for supporting this investment and for sharing our steadfast belief in the role these technologies play in the future of medicine. And thank you very much also for the being that, to you and your team, being that approachable, pragmatic, and, how to put that now, yes, gently demanding.
As always.
Ladies and gentlemen, I can't wait for construction to begin and see our new clinical manufacturing facility become a reality. Let me close with this promise. Evonik is committed to Canada, to Greater Vancouver, and to this incredible life sciences community. We have grown roots here, and we are here to grow. Thank you. And now I think I'm going to hand it back over to Dr. Bacon for closing things out.
Wonderful. What a great, great event, everyone. Great day for BC, great day for Canada. It's my honor to close today. Premièrement, merci beaucoup, Madame la Ministre Joly, Minister Robertson, Minister Dix. Can I have one more hand of applause for these great announcements today? Today really demonstrates what can be achieved when governments invest in exceptional talent and bring together the institutions, the partners, the resources that allow great ideas to have real-world impact. And let me tell you, UBC and Canada's leading universities are fully mobilized to meet the challenges of today and tomorrow. And it takes a whole ecosystem. We see this today, Kardium, Evonik. It's great to have you here. You're both valued partners to UBC with close and long-standing ties, as you highlighted, Guido, to the university through research collaborations, co-op education, and of course employing our highly skilled graduates. Thank you both. Congratulations on your success. At UBC are 9 new Eddie Goldenberg research chairs. And yes, Minister Joly, it is the most in the country. Thank you for pointing that out. Will add their extraordinary expertise to this deeply connected research and innovation ecosystem. And their work spans disciplines from health, life sciences, artificial intelligence, wildlife response, water security, democratic institutions, and more. To all 64 new chairs here at UBC and across the country, I want to say congratulations and welcome back to Canada. We're so thrilled that you've chosen Canada as the new home for your research. On behalf of UBC and university leaders across the country, I would like again to thank Minister Joly and the Government of Canada for championing research that will make a real and lasting impact. Thank you so much. Merci beaucoup. And thank you as well to Ministers Robertson, Dix, McKnight, Parliamentary Secretary Grant, all the partners who made today possible. This is a great day for UBC, for BC, for Canada, for research universities, and for our shared futures. Again, congratulations to all 64 chairs. And with that, I believe I will hand it over to Gabrielle Landry, who will lead the media availability. Gabrielle, over to you. Thank you, everybody.
Bonjour tout le monde. Merci d'être avec nous aujourd'hui. Bonjour tout le monde. Merci d'être avec nous aujourd'hui. I'll ask everyone who had a speaking role and government officials to stay near the podium. I know it's a tight fit, but you're all invited. And I'll ask the media representatives to please have a media line at our right. I know we are a lot in this little room, so please bear with us. If you could please just introduce yourself with your name, your media outlet. Due to the limited time that we have today, we're going to hold 15 minutes of questions, so it'll be just one question.
I feel that. I feel the love.
One question and one follow-up, please. Thank you very much. Who's the first one? Merci. On va aussi prendre des questions en français.
Good morning. Michelle Morton here with CBC. Is this on?
Can you?
So I have 2 questions. First one, what's your plan to keep the auto industry alive if the Americans are planning to kill it?
So, first and foremost, when you look at the tariffs on the auto sector, they're the same that today than they were a week ago. 25% on our auto workers, and we've been there supporting the auto sector. Over the weekend, I had conversations with the CEOs of Honda Canada, of Toyota Canada, and with Ford Canada. And we've been helping the plants, the companies, and we will continue to do so. Tonight, I will be heading to Ontario, to Toronto, to meet with the auto sector tomorrow morning. Okay. So you can see that there won't be a lot of sleep.
Okay. My follow-up, is it possible for Canada to get back to the negotiating table with the U.S. when the Canadian auto industry appears to be a poison pill in any deal with the U.S.?
We always knew that in the context of the trade negotiation, the auto sector would be an important element of our negotiation. When you look at the history of our trade deals with the U.S. and also with Mexico, auto has always been at the core of it. And actually, the USMCA's history goes back to the creation of the Auto Pact between Canada and U.S. in the 60s. And so we know it is important to us, it is important to our country, and we'll continue to fight for these jobs.
Next question, prochaine question.
Julie Landry, Radio-Canada. Vous dites que les nouveaux chercheurs recrutés, les 63, proviennent de 13 pays. Combien viennent des États-Unis et comment profitez-vous de la situation du climat actuel pour recruter encore plus d'Américains?
Des 64 professeurs qui des 64 professeurs qui sont maintenant récipiendaires des chaires Eddie Goldenberg, 48 viennent des États-Unis. Donc, on voit qu'il y a plusieurs de ces chercheurs-là qui sont canadiens, qui reviennent à la maison. Mais aussi, nous avons été capables d'attirer plusieurs chercheurs, en effet, des États-Unis. Pour nous, c'était Nous savons qu'il y avait une belle opportunité d'attirer des talents et nous avons décidé de la saisir. Je vous dirais également que plusieurs pays dans le monde ont lancé des initiatives de la sorte, notamment la France, notamment l'Union européenne, mais nous avons un des plus importants budgets, sinon le plus important budget de l'Occident pour être capable d'attirer ces talents-là.
Et ma prochaine question, j'aimerais une réponse en français et en anglais, s'il vous plaît.
But I can answer that question.
Okay, yeah.
So the question was the U.S. versus all. So we have 64 Eddie Goldenberg chairs, so 64 new professors from the world coming to Canada. Of the 64 professors, 48 are from the United States. Some are Canadian, others are Americans or from different countries working in the U.S. And so we thought that there was an opportunity to seize. At the same time, we were in competition also with other countries that have launched similar initiatives, including France, including also the EU itself. And so when building the initiative, the entire project, we made sure that we had one of the most enticing budget to attract these researchers. Researchers will have $1 million per year for the next 8 years and a possibility of also having the $1 million per chair for the next 4 years. The $1 million obviously doesn't go into their pockets. Their goal is to make sure that they can also hire professors to work with them, students, lab coordinators, etc. And so it's not only a research chair, not only one professor coming from the US or elsewhere. It is actually more than that, because it's an entire team either coming up and working at our universities, also will be recruited within Canada. So that's why we say it's historic and life-changing.
Ma deuxième question, le président Trump vient de signer un décret pour le changement du nom du lac Ontario. Je ne sais pas si je vous l'apprends. Reconnaissez-vous, comment vous réagissez? Reconnaissez-vous aux États-Unis le droit de rebaptiser le lac Ontario? Qu'allez-vous faire si des compagnies comme Google décident d'adopter le changement de nom?
Écoutez, j'ai déjà réagi plus tôt cette semaine sur cette question-là, donc je n'ai pas d'autres commentaires.
Prochaine question. En anglais, s'il vous plaît, in English.
About the President Trump signing to...
I already reacted earlier this week about this decision, and I have no other comments.
Thank you. Prochaine question, next question.
Tristan Stadden, CTV National News. The U.S. Trade Representative says that French language protections are never going to be a red line in negotiations. Is anyone from government, Minister LeBlanc, trade negotiator Charette, the Prime Minister, actually speaking directly with the Americans?
So I know you want more information about that, but as always, we won't negotiate in public. The Prime Minister and Minister LeBlanc and also Janice Charette are leading the negotiations and will continue to support them. My job as Minister of Industry and of course Jill and Gregor being in cabinet, our job is to support the negotiating team, and my job as Minister of Industry is really to present what would be the impacts on our industries of any trade negotiation, trade deal. And so that is why I've been very much involved in dealing with the auto sector, steel, aluminum, forestry, and at the same time, Gregor's job, my job is also to make sure that we come up with solutions for many businesses that are affected by the new tariffs. Do you want to add anything, Gregor? You're good? Yeah. Okay.
In French, please.
Sur cette question-là, bien entendu, je sais qu'il y a beaucoup d'intérêt pour savoir qu'est-ce qui se passe à la table de négociation, etc. Ma réponse est toujours la même. On ne négocie pas en public. Et non seulement ça, c'est le travail du premier ministre, du ministre Leblanc et également de Janice Charette qui sont vraiment en charge des négociations. Mon boulot est d'être capable d'offrir quels seront les impacts sur nos différents secteurs, sur nos différentes industries d'une entente commerciale avec les États-Unis. Je vous dirais également que mon boulot et celui de Gregor Robertson est vraiment d'aider les entreprises qui sont affectées par les tarifs. Et bien entendu, Jill, Gregor et moi, en tant que membres du cabinet, nous soutenons le travail qui est fait par l'équipe.
Minister, as you take the measure of those impacts you spoke about, what is your sense about what it's going to take to get back to the negotiating table? What are you hearing from industries?
So the tariffs are tough. I know that. We've been dealing with tariffs in BC on forestry that have been really difficult on many workers, on many businesses, many households. We've been dealing with tariffs across the country in the steel, aluminum, and auto that have been difficult. But actually, we've been able also to fight back in the context of this trade war, to be able also to protect jobs and to attract investments, notwithstanding all the uncertainty that comes out of a trade war. And so today's announcement is amazing because, yes, we're able to attract fantastic researchers from the world. But meanwhile, BC is so well positioned to be able to lead the life science sector that is creating fantastic jobs and that will help save lives. And so we can do both at the same time. We can fight back, protect our workers, and at the same time, we can be the place where, because we're a stable country, because we're a strong democracy, because we're open for business, we can attract the best and brightest and attract investments. And that is what it means to build Canada strong.
Next question, prochaine question.
Hi, Minister Joly, Sarah McDonald from Global News.
Yeah.
As you mentioned, this announcement today, it's essentially two that are quite sizable. The timing, I'm guessing, is not a coincidence when it comes to talk about keeping Canadian-made products in Canada. Is this meant to send a strong message to the American administration and President Trump? And do you expect a response from the president?
We're doing it for us, guys. There's no plan B. The Prime Minister has been clear. This is our plan A. Our plan A is to build this country. Our plan A is to invest in science and research, to be able, from homegrown talent, to be able to be top-notch in the world, to create companies, to create jobs, to, at the same time, being able, yes, to attract foreign direct investments from other places, including from Qatar, in the case of Kardium, from Germany in the context of Evonik. So we have a plan, we're sticking to it, and we'll make things happen. And today is a lot of work in the past months that was done by my team and I, but actually by a lot of people around me right now, because they're the ones also, when I think of Evonik and Kardium, that are taking the risks. They're the ones that also are dealing with a lot of the uncertainty. They're the ones that want to continue to be able to have access to the American market and also elsewhere. And so we as a government are enabler of new possibilities in a shifting global trade reality.
On Tuesday, on that note, you said one of the reasons that counter tariffs will be and sectors is your government targeting specifically in the counter tariffs to put the most political pressure possible on the United States?
So first and foremost, let's be clear. We didn't search for these new tariffs. They were imposed on us. Of course, we will fight back. And meanwhile, we'll protect our businesses because we believe that there's more than 25,000 businesses that could be impacted. And that's public information. At the same time, we thought that it was important for us to be flexible not only with the measures that we're proposing to businesses, and Gregor and I have been really working with a lot of businesses to see whether the support measures are good or should they be tweaked, or how can we make sure that it makes sense for businesses. So we'll do that. At the same time, we always thought when it came to our counter tariffs, we needed to take into account also what was the reality in Canada and how we can make sure that we don't hurt ourselves. And so that's why we'll continue to adapt, and it's absolutely normal. We heard a lot from many businesses in Atlantic Canada that it was important for us to adjust. And so we just adjusted.
Can I ask one more question? President Trump has been critical of the Ivy Leagues in the United States in the past. Do you view this, 48 professors from the United States, do you view this as poaching some of the best American talent from the Ivy Leagues? And do you think the president will view it that way? And do you think he might view this as an escalation of the trade war that we're seeing right now?
The U.S. administration is taking its own decisions, and we're taking ours. And so we're very glad that these fantastic professors are coming. And you know what? There's going to be a second tranche, because the second intake for the Eddie Goldenberg chairs starting today.
Peg Fong, The Economist magazine. I was wondering if I could ask you about, you said that the West is competing with countries like France and EU in attracting these talents. What makes Canada different? And I wanted to ask you a follow-up question after that.
Well, I think Peter Caravan can answer that question. So, Peter, you want to say anything, and then I can.
Dr. Caravan, were you approached by any other countries?
I wasn't approached by other countries. I wasn't approached by Canada. This is just such an outstanding program, and how it was built, and the minister and her team and the tri-agencies. This is, as she said, doubling down on this investment in science and in reason and in evidence, right? That it's really making this a very welcoming place to come.
Dr. Caravan, I'll ask you to stay there and ask you, what do you think is going to happen 8 years from now?
Peter, you don't need to answer that question.
I would like it if you could.
I don't know tomorrow.
We can
What is
hold
Canada gonna be
specific
like in 8
questions to researchers too after the media veil. We're at 15 minutes now.
Yeah, thank you.
Are there other media questions?
Thank you. So I think let's just hope for the best, and I think that in 8 years, I am convinced that there will be a lot of great things coming out of this program. But it's difficult to ask a scientist who's always about evidence to tell what will happen in 8 years.
Thank you, everyone. Please stay on stage and come forward for the official picture.
Thank you.
Merci beaucoup tout le monde.
Thank you. Thank you, Peter.
Thank you.